Okay. Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching. If you're watching live, we appreciate it. If you're watching pre-recorded, I guess on YouTube, thank you. Make sure that you go ahead and click that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up already, because you know you're gonna love it, obviously. Um, uh, anyway, no, seriously, this is one that we've been looking forward to. We've got the beautiful Miss Brittnee Blair with us today. Went deep in BB Can 3, everybody's favorite. Anyway, but before we get to her, we got McCrae over here working all the buttons. Got things all set up for us.
No one gives a shit about me. Let's get to the main attraction. Brittnee, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so stoked to be here with you guys. It's awesome.
Oh no, this is so fun.
Yeah, we're pumped too.
Yeah.
We're pumped too. Early on, you were one of my picks. Like, you were my girl. Like, you were. Yeah, I had you picked already. So yeah, I had you like in every like a draft type thing we did or whatever. So. And you did not disappoint. Did not disappoint.
Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah.
Oh, sorry guys, I was just getting this lower third ready. But let's get into it. Let's get into how did you get involved with Big Brother? Where did it all come from? Where did the love come from? Maybe you don't love it, I guess. But where did the passion come from? How did you get into auditions? Just go through.
You know what?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, no, okay, so I love Big Brother. I've watched US Big Brother. Love y'all guys from Big Brother US, by the way. And I got into Big Brother Canada right away. Like, loved season 1, loved season 2, and I was sitting at home in New York, actually, and some friends were, tweeting, Snapchatting, whatever you want to say, about going to try out for Big Brother Canada. And I was like, dude, I could do this. Like, I could kill it in this game. I could kill it. I need to do it. But I wasn't in Canada. So I made a video, like, took my butt up to my rooftop, made a video, and was like, listen to what's up. Hi, I'm Brittnee. I'm 25 years old, Calgary, Alberta. Put me in that house. I'll charm the pants off them. Charm the pants off Canada. And then they picked me. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So your whole, is that what you told them? What did you tell them that how were you going to play when you go into the house? Like, they obviously asked you, kind of like, what would your game be going into it? So tell us about, like, what you told them your game was going to be, and then how did that differ from when you walked into the house that first night?
So initially, I told them I kind of wanted to go in like John and Netta style. I wanted to get in there. I wanted to bro down with a guy and have him work the guy side of the house. I'd work the girl side of the house. I also get along with dudes. Like, I know how to bro down, but I also know how to talk with makeup and hair and nails and all that shit, right? So, initially, that was my strategy. Go in, bro up a guy, we work that house, and make it to Final 2. But getting into that house, as you guys know, is like a way different story, and you got to switch up your strategy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, all right. So, like, you make it through the process. You're getting in there. You get up to the night where you're walking through the door. What is your first feelings? What is your first interactions with, like, all the house guests? We didn't get to see it live, so kind of take us through the first night into the first week, because we didn't get the live feeds. We don't really know how everything went down.
So initially, walking into that door, actually just standing on the stage, I was like, "Holy shit, what am I doing? Am I crazy?" But then getting into the house and meeting all 15 other people was it was undescribable. Like, it's hard to explain that feel. Well, you guys know. It's hard to explain that feeling to anybody else, though, who hasn't experienced it. It's so cool. You learn about, like, their little, like, quirks or what they do as for work. Are they single? Are they not single? That was a cool feeling. Like, I was definitely eyeing up the room.
So you mentioned single or not single. Were you immediately like, I want to try to work people that are single, or like, was that in your mind at all? It's okay.
Kind of. Like, I mean, you go in, you're a single girl, you're like, I could totally flirt and use this to my advantage. Absolutely. But was that like option 1 or option A? No. I don't know. It was hard. I was trying to just keep my options open. So if flirting got me there, then so be it.
Absolutely.
But
Well, what relationships were formed for you early on as far as the game's concerned? Because we know the Chop Shop's going to form around day 2, which you're not a part of, and so like what relationships were you fostering at this time?
All right. So initially, I instantly made a connection with Sarah. Like, the moment that girl turned around. I walked through the door. She was like, "Hey, I'm Sarah." I was like, "This girl's cool." she's dope. And then she's like, hey, I'm Sarah, I'm the stoner. I was like, yep, I love you. You're gonna be chill as fuck. So yeah, her right away, right off the bat, I was like, this girl's down. She seems extremely intelligent. She's just kind of playing off this stoner thing. You could tell she's got a lot of brains to her.
Sure.
I also, you guys didn't see it, but I actually made a connection with Jinja Ninja 604. Because, like I said, I went in there, I had a strategy, and at the time, the guy was all namaste. I thought he had a great rapport with the guys, and he seemed chill. So I was kind of working on that a bit.
Okay. Okay.
Interesting.
I don't guess that was the one that you were planning on trying to bro up with. Maybe to start a showmance with Greg Merritt. Don't guess that was the plan at all.
No showmance. I was trying to bro up with him. I was like, you know what, you can chill.
Hey, were you? What you said? Fembot started day one. What about SSB? What day did that start?
So SSB started when Cindy came back into the house.
Okay. So that's gonna be like after day 30, sometime after day 30. Okay. All right. You were not to stick on it too much, but you did have a plan, like you said, to maybe you'd be interested in a showmance. Did you try to build any relationships with a guy in the house that early on that you may have wanted to develop into a showmance, or did that not seem like an option, and then you cultivated the relationships with Sarah?
Pretty much. I felt out the guys. You know, I tried to bro down. I kind of felt out the showmance material, if you will. Kev was a little interesting. I thought maybe there was some potential there, but at the end of the day, after sifting through it, I just realized that's not the route to go. And yeah.
Now, had you bonded? Did you bond with Neha fairly closely during this time? Neha and Cindy early on.
Cindy and I didn't initially bond. Cindy was very like, I'm Cindy with an S, you know. She was kind of in her own world. She was very strong, powerful, like, hey, I'm Cindy with an S, I'm here. Initially, my two closest allies were Sarah and Neha. They were both there to do business. They were two very strong women who were not afraid to make moves. And yeah, my allegiance was with them.
Okay, all right. Well, the house is going to be the HOH this week. You are not nominated or placed on the block after Cindy wins the power veto. It's between Risha and Peely. Were they trying to campaign to you during this time, and how did you feel like being responsive to their campaigning to promise a vote or whatever? How did you feel like that was going to set your place in the game?
Okay, so I looked at both Pilar and Risha, and sorry, we're talking about Peely and Risha?
Yeah, when Risha and Peely are on the block, I know that they campaigned that week, not knowing that Canada was going to vote. When people start campaigning, early on, you don't know if by promising a vote you're choosing a side. So, kind of, how did you play that first week of campaigning to get your because everybody's kind of got to get their sea legs for Big Brother. It's not something you just pick up and run with usually. So, kind of tell me about how you play this first week and how you try not to let do you talk too much this first week and regret it and are glad that Canada was the HOH or the Canada voted, or did you play early laid back and it was just no stress week for you?
I definitely played it laid back. I didn't want to put too much heat on me, but I took time to hear what these girls had to say. Risha campaigned her ass off. I was really impressed. She worked overtime holding that balloon, trying to build a relationship, show that she wanted to be there. She was working her ass off to stay in that house. Peely, she didn't really do much campaigning. She kind of stuck with the fact that the house made this pact that, whoever came off the block and went up, we were still going to stick with the original person that was left on there.
Okay.
So,
and you were fine with that, right? Like that was fine. That deal was fine. That worked just perfectly into your game, and you're looking forward to week 2, correct?
Exactly. That deal was fine with me because I had nominated Cindy and Risha. Those are two very powerful women who had a presence in that house, and I was like, listen, they might have the same game as me, and I don't want to butt heads with them. Gotcha.
Okay. Well, moving on to week 2, Bobby's going to win HOH, and he's going to nominate you and Kevin. How did you first react to being nominated?
I was devastated. I was like, oh shit, I'm already up on this block, it's not ideal. You want to stay off the block. as long as possible. And I
Sure.
knew the moment I fell off that wall-to-wall competition, I knew that I was going up there. I knew it was going to be a cop out.
Okay. Okay. That wall to wall, that looked like a tough comp, and that was tailor made for Bobby, a rock climber.
It
So
was. This guy was like hanging like a gorilla. Like he was like, oh,
yeah,
this I could sleep like this. I was like, awesome.
exactly,
Well, enjoy that
exactly.
win, Bobby.
So, so the POV is going to be played. Kevin wins it. All right, and Bobby nominates Cindy up against you. And right now, you're being told that you're the pawn. You have nothing to worry about. Cindy's the target.
Yep, I
Okay.
am.
Were
After they had that run in with the girls, and they were beaking off saying that they wanted to send Kevin home. That was a
sure.
blessing in disguise that he overheard that conversation, and
Oh, absolutely.
it instantly made Cindy a very large target. So my plan was really to somewhat campaign, but I don't think people saw that that house was very emotional. They made a lot of emotional decisions,
Okay.
especially the girl half. Um, so it you couldn't go full force and just be like game game game. You had to appeal to their friendly side, if you will,
Uh,
and so I played it low key. I appealed to them. I said I'd vote how you want me to vote.
sure.
Looking ahead in the game, right?
Sure.
So I
Sure.
just had to keep that target on Cindy, unfortunately.
Yeah. No.
But
No. Absolutely. That's
Smart.
excellent. Yeah, you got to kind of play submissive. Whatever y'all want, whatever your direction is my direction, and whatever you need. Sure, because you are at their mercy, and like once you get past the week, you can decide what you want to do from there.
exactly.
That's the beauties of it. So okay, well, Kevin's gonna get off. Like I said, get off the block. Cindy goes up. Cindy's gonna go home. Kind of at this point in the game. Well, I'll get to that question here in just a second. We're gonna have the instant eviction is next. Kevin is going to win this HOH, and he instantly nominates Neha and yourself. Okay, there is a talk of trying to kind of get it turned around. Kind of tell me about your part in that. What and where you wanted that move to take the direction of your game.
So I wasn't in that initial talk about switching the house, flipping it on those people. I actually had heard about it the next day, just after this whole instant eviction thing happened. Had that worked out, that would have been beautiful. That would have been great for my game. I think we all could have made it really far. However, I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And unfortunately, when Neha left, it made it a lot easier to get closer to Sarah, a lot easier to build that bond. And it was easier to work in two than three.
Okay,
You
yeah, no,
know?
I was going to ask you if Neha leaving helped your game, because it did seem to help the bond between you and Sarah. Uh,
Yeah.
and that was really critical for y'all moving forward. Okay, all right. So let me see here. We got you. We got Neha is leaving. It's instant eviction is going to shock everybody.
Mhm.
Um, that was pretty good TV right there, because
That's
it
crazy.
looks like Kevin was susceptible to turn things around had he had the opportunity. So that was
Exactly.
some interesting gameplay, and it was a point in the game where I guess for the first time you worked with Zach and Jordan. Okay.
Zach Jordan, when it came to Greg, when I went HOH,
No, I'm talking about for this flip, for this
like the
the
chat.
flip, the hexagon alliance.
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes.
The
Okay, all
Colin
right. Are we on
line.
the same page? All right. So
Yeah,
like, but
yeah.
they did approach you, and so y'all kind of shared a little bit of where you were in the game with each other, with the hopes of working forward. That is correct?
In a sense, yes. But then
Okay.
we learned that that wasn't too legit. They
Sure,
tried.
sure. Okay, okay. But at least may not have been legit, but it may have influenced thinking decisions that week. Okay, all right. So this next week, after Neha leaves, you've gone from on the block to on the block twice in a very short amount of time, to HOH, and you are not going to play around. You make a really big nominations with Bobby and Kevin. I liked how in the diary room, this is the point in your game where you started doing being more like Queen Bee talk, and talking about how you were going to put up powerful people, you're going to make big moves when you had the opportunity. And I think that not afraid to make big moves thing is really what started getting people on your side more so than like feeling like you're an underdog, having been on the block. They felt like this is somebody that's when they got power, they're going to use it. What with Bobby and Kevin up? I know that you've made some kind of scathing remarks, and then Johnny wins the power of veto, and the whole plan is to backdoor Greg. Greg is the only person that doesn't understand this.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, you said earlier you kind of bonded even with Greg a little bit early that first week. Tell me the evolution of y'all's relationship very briefly, and why Greg had to leave. Was he a direct threat to you, or just your numbers on the side of the house?
So I made a pretty good connection with Greg, within the first few days. I did see him scattering around, and I could see him somewhat building an alliance with people, and I realized he wasn't letting me in on this. Now, when it came to Risha and Pilar being up on the block, he then started to kind of go a little haywire, if you will, and he was trying to get Risha the votes to stay.
Yeah,
And he was going around telling people, this is what's best for my game. This is what's best for my game. Well, sorry, bro, but like we're all here for our own game, and we need to
yeah,
do what's best for our own game. So I kind of noticed that Greg was somewhat of an emotional player, if you will, and I can't work with somebody who is too emotional. I need someone who's logical. When you're logical, I know where you're going, I know what you're thinking. When you're emotional, you're just making spur of the moment decisions
Wild
that
card.
may not benefit my game.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that Greg had a lot of pull in that house, and that he was somewhat of an emotional player and someone that I no longer wanted to work with.
okay,
So I had to backdoor him. Now, when Sarah and I kind of discussed this, because we did win that HOH together, but it was
sure,
my HOH, she initially wanted to go for Bobby. And I was like, listen, I don't think this is the week to get Bobby out. I think this is the week to get Greg out. I feel like he's part of a bigger picture. Um,
yes,
so I wanted everyone to kind of view it as though it was an emotional move. Well, Kevin nominated me and Bobby nominated me, and I just, I'm so hurt by it. I want to put them up on the block. It just
gotcha,
worked out that they were also two very strong players, so
sure.
it just worked out. Put them up. Ideally, I want to backdoor Greg, but if one of those dudes goes, not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, exactly. So Johnny's going to win. Greg goes up, and Greg really, there's some little outburst a little bit, but he pretty much gives up and dies. Like that's really pretty
Yeah.
easy HOH week for you. In all honesty, after the backdoor plan gets followed through, so. This, do you know? You're obviously aware that Greg is part of a bigger alliance. Are you aware of his closeness with Bruno? I would imagine so. They spend a lot of
Oh,
time together.
absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
Bruno's going to win this next HOH. Bruno's going to win this next HOH. What keeps his nominations with you just being HOH and getting rid of his right hand man? And Bruno campaigned hard for Greg, and really kind of I feel like this is the start of messing up Bruno's game. Exposes so much allegiance to Greg. But Bruno's HOH, he also wins the power veto. What makes his nominations Johnny and Sarah this week instead of like Johnny and Brittnee or Brittnee Sarah? What keeps you safe, girl?
So I also had a pretty decent relationship with Bruno. Like I said, I was kind of close to Greg, which is why I think he was so butthurt when I put him up there. I don't blame the guy, but I had a pretty good relationship with Bruno. I told him, Greg's got to go. He's going haywire. He's bringing too much heat on us. I know that you think that it's good to keep this bigger target around, but God knows what this guy is going to do. So by this point, I had already built a pretty good relationship with Bruno, enough for him to not want to put me up, enough for him to see me beneficial in his game.
Okay.
I kind of showed him, I'd still be willing to work with you.
Right on.
Excellent.
Right on. Okay. And what's your relationship with Johnny at this time? I know that he's on your side. Where's trust level on your as far as like your allies? If Sarah's closest, where's Johnny fall?
Johnny falls in the middle. I don't quite know if I can trust him at this point. He's pretty close with Kevin, so I just have to be pretty, cautious of that. I don't know if he's running to Kev, telling him all my info, whatnot. So I kind of just keep him in the middle.
Okay. And this week, you're gonna keep Sarah. There's no question you're not gonna keep Johnny over Sarah. So, what are you doing as far as your social game is concerned at this point? Because this is week 4. You've had an interesting run at things. You've been nominated twice already. You have been HOH. So, you've got 2 people still in the house that you've nominated. with Kevin and Bobby. You're kind of in an interesting spot. So what are you doing with your social games since you're safe this week? Are you trying to work with Zach at all? Like just kind of, do you keep anything open outside of Fembots, as far as just kind of like a little parachute alliance or any kind of thing like that? Like you said, you kind of let Bruno know that you'd be good for the end of his game. What else are you doing?
So I'm mostly working close with Bruno. I'm letting him know, I'm good for your game. I'm also working close with Zach and Jordan at this point. We still have this, hexagon, pentagon alliance that we turned it into. Um, I know that Johnny is Bruno's target, and I just need to appeal to that. I need to still show him that Johnny is a big target to keep around. And it's funny because a lot of these people dig themselves into their own holes when they're on the block. They almost talk too much, if you will.
Sure.
You kind of have to find a happy medium, and one wrong word, you're gone. So I just had to make sure I kept Sarah calm, kept her, not too emotional. Who else was I talking to in that house? It was mostly Bruno, to be honest.
Okay.
Bruno
Okay.
and a bit of Godfrey.
Did you see Bruno's having a lot of good relationships with people in the house that you may have not have been so close to?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, so he's kind of your lifeline to the other side, would you say?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. All right. So Johnny's going to go. Like you said, you didn't really trust Johnny just 100% because of his relationship with Kevin. He's going to go. Zach's going to win HOH, but Cindy's going to return day 30. Now, at this point in the game, what is your relationship with Zach, and what does Cindy coming back into the house as opposed to Neha would be the next best thing to come in? Tell me about this period in your game.
Okay, so at this point in the game, I was close to Zach. I was close to Jordan. We were still kind of working together, if you will, but we could see a little bit of hesitation coming from Zach and Jordan at this point.
Okay.
When I saw that those people had the opportunity to come back in the house, I was freaking out. Neha kind of would have screwed up my game. I hate to say it. I love the girl, but I had built such a close bond with Sarah by that point that I couldn't really risk, Neha coming in, and Lord knows what she's going to do, because she did have a tendency to be a bit paranoid. Now, ideally, Cindy was great to come in the house. I didn't even know she had all this sequester info, let alone, just her coming back in the house on her own.
Sure.
So, she was the best case scenario.
Okay. When Zach nominated Jordan, what did you think? Like, you knew that they had a relationship. Like, did you just think, what is this nonsense? You just said, I don't give a shit, it's not me.
When Zach nominated Jordan, I was like, what in the hell are you doing, you cocky son of a bitch? You should have never put up your closest ally on the block. To me, that just reeks cockiness.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
I could tell what he was doing, and I was not picking up what he was laying down. I didn't see it going good at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let me know right now, what is your relationship with Willow like in the house?
With Willow, somewhat non-existent. Sarah's kind of trying to pull me into Willow, kind of warm up to her, but I can see Willow's game. I don't trust her at this point.
Yeah.
I can see her working both sides, and I really don't. I just can't trust her. Something in the pit of my stomach says this girl is way too in between, and she has got it way too good right now.
Okay.
No one's thinking to put her up at all.
Yeah. No. Okay. No. Absolutely. So that's interesting, because that obviously is going to come into play a little bit later. I just want to know where you stood with her here at week 5. So Zach nominated Jordan. He wins the power veto, and then he doesn't change his nominations. He's not planning to backdoor anybody. He's going to be, this is, I don't know if you were aware of this, but Cindy coming back in changed Zach's mind about backdooring Bobby or Bruno that week, and it made him keep his noms the same in the hopes that Godfrey would go home. Anyway, that's not what's going to end up happening. Talk about Cindy coming in. I want to know about Cindy's role and Godfrey's role in the flip. Who was talking to who, encouraging what sides of the house to work together here, and just kind of get me to the point where, because everybody's game kind of changes at this point, that when JP leaves, the game really starts building momentum, and so that's kind of what I just want you to set up a little bit. with that big flip.
Okay, so Cindy coming back in was a blessing in disguise. When she, unveiled all this info about the chop shop and that there was actually this, big alliance and that, Willow, Zach, Ashley, Bruno, Greg, Bobby were all in it, I was like, holy shit, it's so legit. You have this inkling, but you're not like 100%, till Cindy
Yeah.
came in with the info. So that was a game changer. That was a really big game changer. By this point, we had kind of started to feel, I say we because Sarah and I were so close. We were discussing. We didn't really trust Zach. We didn't trust JP at this point. We could see what he was doing, putting JP up. We could see them not feeding us as much info as they used to in the previous weeks. We thought we were working together. What's the deal? So,
Yeah.
when Cindy came in with this info, it was kind of our time to get back at Zach a bit, take JP out. JP would have done anything for Zach as far as we were concerned.
Sure.
Whether we kept him there, Zach would have just said sorry. JP would have still kept on playing a game for Zach.
Yeah.
So we had to use this opportunity to get close to Godfrey and really like pick his brain, see where he was at in this game. We knew he was someone that we could use. And yeah, we figured what better opportunity? JP's on the block, Godfrey's there. We know Godfrey's going after Zach, so let's keep him.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, and that's important to point out because not only are when you're deciding to flip the house and vote someone out, you're not only voting to vote somebody out, you're voting to keep somebody. So you got to make sure that they align with you strategically, even if you're not like in an alliance with them.
Exactly.
What was your relationship with Godfrey, if any, up until this point?
My relationship with Godfrey wasn't too strong. It was kind of like, hey, here and there, discussing, people who we wanted to go home because up until that point, everybody was voting together. We were all voting the same. It was just so monotonous
Yeah.
and you couldn't really count on like a flip. So this was a moment where I really started to work with Godfrey and I really started to kind of see where his head was at in the game and realize that I did want to work a lot closer with him.
Okay. Okay. Now this is the week that you're gonna have to work with Bruno and Bobby in order to flip the house. Now you said you'd had some relationship, but Sarah really had no relationship with Bruno. No good relationship necessarily at this point in time. Was that just, as far as you were concerned, just a 1 week understanding, just to flip the house? This was no plan to work together long term. It was just, let's do this week, and then next week we'll just kind of see how it shakes out.
As far as I was concerned, I had my own little side relationship with Bruno. So I was somewhat loyal to him. He was somewhat loyal to me. I'm watching your back, you watch mine. Now, Bobby was kind of the up in the air. I had
Gotcha.
no idea where Bobby's head was at, but I knew that Bruno was pulling some hard strings on Bobby. And yeah, I knew that it would be all right. Now, bringing Sarah and Bruno together, that was the tough one.
That was the tough part. Okay.
I believe it.
Now, who mediated that mostly? Was it Godfrey that helped with that? Was it you? Was it Cindy? Who's the mediator between Sarah and Bruno that week?
It was I would say 50-50 between Cindy and I, bringing them together.
Okay.
Cindy she was in the perfect position coming into the house. She had no allies, really. She had no allegiance to anybody in that house. So she was in the perfect position that if she talked and she tried to stir up shit, I mean, whatever. People already had a target on her back. But for me, I had to be a little bit more cautious. So I kind of let her do a bit of the talking, bring all of us together, really. And then once things started going, kind of feeding it to Sarah, saying, listen, Bruno's good. He'll help us. Bring them together. Get that bond going.
Okay. Okay. Well, when you and the rest of the house, the majority of the house, vote out Jordan, it kind of draws a line in the sand. It's not a hard line because there's a little bit of back and forth at times, but it definitely kind of sets the tone for what's to come. Week 6, Peely's going to win HOH. Nominate Cindy and Godfrey. We kind of know that Godfrey, he's going to win that power veto, save himself, and then you're going to go up as a pawn one more time to get Cindy out. Cindy's a troublemaker. Cindy going obviously to turn the block for is good for you. Not that she's a troublemaker in a bad way, but she stirs some shit. Like Cindy
Yeah.
was great TV because
Mhm.
when she was
Absolutely.
running the house, she didn't fuck around. She was there to do work, and she worked for sure. I mean, she worked her ass out of the house twice, but she definitely did some work while she was there.
Oh, Cindy.
but
Interview with her tomorrow night at
yes,
10.
yes,
That's a
yes.
perfect
I love
time.
her. I love Cindy.
Yeah, no, Cindy's
I do
great.
too. No,
Yeah,
I do too. I
exactly.
do too. Honestly, I thought that she was one of the more entertaining house guests the whole season, and she was only on there for just a short period of time. So I love Cindy. But anyway, Peely's going to win HOH. Do you have obviously Peely's HOH is Kevin's HOH. He obviously has a lot of influence over her, as well as Zach, and the diapers have already formed at this point in time. So, and you know that the showmances are working together, even though you don't know that they have got like a name. So, what do you feel about this when you're up against Cindy? Do you feel like there's any way Cindy can talk her way out of it and flip the house on you, or are you pretty smooth sailing, going to be safe, strictly pawn that week?
Honestly, every time I sat on that block, I never sat comfortable, and I don't think anybody ever should. I definitely thought there was a good chance that she could flip it. That girl's extremely intelligent. She was there to
Sure.
play. You know, she was there to do work, and that's why I respected her. By this point, we had somewhat formed that SSB alliance, so I wanted to work with this girl. Like, she was here to do work. I'm here to do work. Let's get this shit going. So to be sitting next to her at this point really sucked because I was like, hey, you know, plan B. Plan
Sure.
A is not working out anymore. And I knew from the first time we were sitting on the block together, kind of how she campaigned. So I really just somewhat mimicked that, let her put a target on her back. You know, these girls, I was talking to Ashley and Pilar, and they were terrified of Cindy. So I had to play that up. You know, I had to play up. Yeah, I mean, she did. She came in with the sequester info. You're right. She did know. What more does she know? Kind of instilling that paranoia into people, and they were already scared enough. It was really just about feeding off that and amping it up.
Yeah, when somebody comes back in the house, like they're tainted in a way. You don't know what they're withholding, that kind of stuff. And obviously, she brought some information. You didn't know what else she had up her sleeve. So that was very good. And Cindy was a worthy opponent to be on the block against because she could easily pull some shit and hang around.
Yes, she could.
Yeah. So even though you had the SSB alliance and you were going to try to work with Cindy, her leaving, ultimately at this point, when you were both on the block together, did you think her leaving was going to hurt your game, or did you think it was going to help it, or where did you feel like your game, the status, because your game is about to blow wide open right after Kevin's HOH. It's the last time you're going to be considered a pawn when you're on the block. So since your game is about to blow wide open, let's talk about just the status of it right here. SSB obviously is about to break up. You don't know what do you hope. What is your best wishes for the next week to happen? And I'm sure it's not Kevin to win the HOH and Power Veto, but like, who do you want to win those things? What do you want the nominees to be? Where do you need your game to start rolling?
Oh goodness. Okay, so at this point, you know, seeing Cindy go, it's awful. It does throw a wrench, but at the end of the day, we had a plan. You know, Sarah and I had a plan. Without Cindy there, she was kind of a blessing in disguise, bringing all this extra info to us. So no matter what, my game was amped up a bit more by what info she brought me. Now, do I want Kevin or anyone else to win? No, absolutely not. I want to win, and I want to do damage. I want to put some of these big players up. I want some of these big players to go up. I want Kevin to turn on his showman's alliance. I wanted that game to get blown up.
Okay.
Ideally, some of those big players going up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you wanted to do it yourself. You want to get the blood in your hands. It was a situation where you'd like for Sarah to win, and you might be able to kind of stay in the middle a little bit that week. You wanted to actually get the blood in your hands and be the HOH.
You know what? I know that in that game, the only way you're for sure safe is when you have the power in your hands. And every time I got the power in my hands, I wanted to do damage. Now, it was beautiful though, because maybe I'm sorry, I might be getting off topic, but like my plan was always to blow shit up but still seem like I had no idea what was going on. Sarah's the one who is the mastermind behind all of this, but on the DL, you know,
Yeah.
be talking some hard game behind it. But yes, I wanted to do the damage since I
Okay.
started.
Okay.
I
Okay.
wanted to blow it up.
Smart.
Excellent,
It's a
excellent.
good
No,
idea. It's a
that's
good
awesome.
idea. Yeah. Exactly.
No, so so Cindy is going to go. You're winning one HOH, but you don't. Kevin wins HOH, and you go on the block against Bobby. Um,
Yeah.
you know Bobby's a target. You know he's not an ally of yours at this point in any fashion, really, is he? You don't have any much relationship with Bobby.
No, not really.
Okay,
No.
okay. So there's no relationship there. Him being on the block against you, as long as you're the pawn, is fine. You're being told you're the pawn. It's pretty well understood that Bobby's going to go, or are you like? I know you say you're always nervous, but let's like really look at it as far as how are you feeling about it?
I was still pretty nervous because Bruno had amazing relationships in that house. He was extremely tight with Bobby. That was his closest dude in the house. So I was nervous because I'm close to Bruno. Bobby's close to Bruno. I know Bobby's closer to Bruno, so he's going to be rooting for him. He's going to have him in his corner.
Yeah.
I was extremely nervous sitting on the block next to Bobby. But after talking to Kevin and kind of figuring out that his intended plan was to fish that power of veto out of Bobby, I started to feel a little bit more relaxed, play off that, and I just could tell. You could feel it in the house.
Okay.
He was either
Okay.
going for Godfrey, as he said, but then it became more evident that it was a Bobby thing.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, like Bobby was part of the chop shop. Zach needed to get the remainders of the chop shop and stuff apart. Out of the house. He was an athletic threat. Bobby certainly was. And that's all kind of how Kevin's strategy was evolving too. And that was the Diaper Alliance's strategy. So that week, really, nobody wanted Bobby to stay. Like you were really good shape that week. And this is going to be awesome because Bobby's going to leave, and you're going to go again from on the block to you're going to win one of the most important. You win two of the most important HOHs of the season. You win this on day 49. You're going to win the triple eviction. Originally, you're going to nominate Kevin, Peely, and Zach, and this is kind of where some things start getting interesting.
Dicey.
Bruno wins the power veto, and he uses it. What does this instantly do to your relationship with Bruno? Using this power veto on Zach.
I could not believe it. Like, my face probably said it all. I was like, bro, what are you doing? You've just been bashing the showmances for the past, 3 weeks, saying they need to go, especially Zach, like, playing fun, talking about people watching him bathe and shit, and this guy just threw a power of veto around his neck. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
It definitely wavered my trust with Bruno, 100%. Like, I was just like, I don't even know who you are anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know. So yeah, that was.
Was there any way after that you could trust him at all? At all in the game? Was there any rekindling that after he saved Zach?
I was pretty good at separating the game from the emotional aspect of like, oh my God, you did me wrong, and I know not a lot of people saw that, but had that been the case, I would have threw Sarah and Johnny out of the house if I really felt bad about them writing my name down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely, I could still work with Bruno for going on in the game. He proved that it was nothing against me, as he said when he threw it around Zach's neck. B, it's nothing against you. He explained it. I put myself in his shoes, and I got it. You think that there's this big girl alliance forming. This is your only way out. Like, I totally got it.
Mm-hmm.
I got why he did it, but I wish he didn't do it because I was legit. I would have continued to work with him.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Had Zach not been there.
Absolutely.
Okay, well let's talk about your renom. Zach comes down and you put Willow up. Strategically, what is this move for you? Is it and obviously I want you to talk a little about Sarah and Willow's relationship, whether you're threatened by that. Where, like you just said, Sarah did vote for you very early on in the game. Who cast a vote to evict you. So Fembots were tight, but Neha was was a good friend of Sarah's for a short period of time, and they were awfully tight. So
Hmm.
let's kind of talk about that. What's your comfort level with Willow, and what do you see her being on the block doing for your game?
So at this point, Sarah had really been trying to bring Willow and I closer. I was even trying to make an effort to get closer, see if I could align myself with her. But there was just something that I kept hitting. I kept hitting a wall. Like, I just cannot trust this girl. She's still working her edge with Zach and the couples. Then she's running back telling us info, but it just didn't feel right. I just couldn't trust her no matter how hard I tried. So when I saw this opportunity to throw someone up, could have took the easy way out and maybe put up Godfrey or something. But why would I do that? By this point, I had made a connection with Godfrey. I knew he had my back. Um, and I knew that Willow was getting really close to Sarah, not only on a game level, but emotionally. And when you're closed off in the house from no one else and you start building an emotional connection with someone, sometimes that outweighs your game.
Absolutely.
And I definitely saw it getting in the way of my alliance with Sarah, the fembots, and
I
I
definitely
couldn't trust Willow.
I definitely think it was the right move because she was definitely looking like she was going to be playing a number 2 game, or she was going to be making it to the final because she was swaying between each and every person. She had like both sides covered on lockdown, and she was moving in on your number 1. From what I understand, I guess from what I could tell, So it's like to me, it seems like the right move. This is the time to take the chance and take the shot, And Godfrey does end up getting to second place, but at the same time, it's like you couldn't have foreseen that. That seemed like just someone else was going to take out Godfrey,
Exactly. The thing was, Willow had these strong relationships with Ashley and Peely. She's always calling them her sisters, blah, blah, blah. She's close with Sarah. I know that she's not going to try and get her out. No one is going to try and get this girl out. She has such a comfortable game right now that I need to take this opportunity and get out someone that no one else is going to think to get out because she will literally coast by.
Absolutely.
Very good.
This did you care who went? Because obviously we know now that Willow could have stayed, and Peely would have gone home. What did you really care who went, or did you want Willow to leave?
I did want Willow to leave. I have to be honest about that. Ideally, the 2 people that left were who I wanted gone. Now, if Peely and Kevin left, that would have been one half of the showmance. Okay, cool. But again, everything happens the way it's supposed to, and Kevin, a big player in the showmance alliance, left, and Willow gone. So that again brought Sarah and I closer and took that middleman out of everybody, away from everyone.
How much do you trust Godfrey at this point?
I feel pretty good with Godfrey. I mean, not 100%, but I would say about, we'll say like 65% trust.
Where do you see his game? What do you see him doing when he's not with you? Who are you worried he's talking to?
I can see that Godfrey is close with Bruno. He doesn't have a very strong connection with anybody. He spends a lot of the time sleeping. He's got a good game. When I finally do get to discuss kind of where my head's at, and pick his brain, I realize that we have the same goals. We want these showmances gone, and we're trying to make it to the end, man. And yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, during this this awesome triple eviction episode, like we said, Zach stays, Willow, Kevin go, and week 8's going to roll around, and it's pretty nerve-wracking for you right now because Ashley's going to win the HOH, and you, along with Sarah, are going to become have-nots. This is obviously there's not a lot of point in talking about this week, obviously, because how the have-not power is going to change it. So unless there's anything, there is some strategical stuff that I want to talk about in this, but we don't need to talk about original noms and all this kind of stuff. What I'd like to talk about is when you had the power and knew you were safe. I knew that you used the confidence of knowing you were safe to talk to people to find out where their game was at. I really want you to break that down for me because I think that's a very important use.
That's huge.
Use of having a power that I think a lot of people would have been too lazy to have done. And I think that's very intelligent on your part. So I want you to tell me about that.
Yeah. Okay, so when I got that power, thank you, Canada, I could not believe it. I was like, listen, I've got this power. I'm here to do work, and I don't want it to go to waste. I don't want this just to be some temporary power that gets me through this week and doesn't help me in the long run. Like, how can I use this power in the longest term possible? So I went around to each individual person, and I kind of picked their brain on what their game was. By this point, it was a benefit that they had already seen the target on my back. They thought I was going home. So when people think you're going home,
They'll tell
they
you
let their guard down,
everything. Yep.
right? They'll tell you
Absolutely.
everything. So I had to use this to my advantage. Went up to Zach, said, "Hey, where's your brain at? What are you thinking? Why do you see me as a target? What is your end game then? Like, how is this beneficial?" And in a sense, I didn't want to get too cocky. I didn't want to let on because those people are really intelligent. They know when something is up. So
Sure.
I had to still be in this mindset of I could go home and still try and somewhat campaign to them and show them that I'm beneficial to keep around, in the weeks to come, which they would discover, that I was going to
Sure.
be there. Um,
Sure.
so I just used that as an opportunity, really, to see where their games were at, see whose loyalty was to who, especially Bruno in this week, because Bruno I knew was close to Godfrey, and he was also close to me, and I
Okay.
needed to see where his loyalty really lied. Like, who was he with? And it was clearly with Godfrey, and
Okay.
that opened my eyes up a lot.
Okay. With Godfrey staying, feeling very safe that week, did he do anything that week that made you cautious of him at all, or did he play it very cool?
So after Bruno left.
No, 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 no. I'm talking about that same week. When you are on the block against Godfrey, going in, and everybody thinks that you're going home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did he do any?
Was he doing anything kind of campaigning? Was he talking to people that made you mad? He had to have done something just to ensure his safety. And I want to know what if anything he did there.
So I took the opportunity to talk to Godfrey, and I wanted to say, Godfrey, listen, I'm going to be gone, man. If I'm gone, I want to know that you're going to have Sarah's back. And I want to know that, like, you've been saying since week 4, you want to get Zach out. Please, please, in my honor, when I'm gone, like, get him out. I'm trying to just plant the seeds in this guy's brain, really pick his brain, but plant some more seeds, water them, make sure that when I stick around and he realizes that I take him off the block, he's going to have some loyalty to me, and he is ultimately going to go after the same target that he's been
Okay.
saying he wanted to go after.
Mhm.
So he did some campaigning, and I respect that. I wouldn't want to be on the block against anyone who wasn't going to campaign, just as I did. It's just, you need to campaign. You don't want to just roll over
Okay.
and die.
Okay.
So I wasn't too angry with that. I
That's
knew he
that's
campaigned.
good. Respecting the game and the campaigning is necessary. Well, let's talk about this nomination then. I know you said you used some of this time to find out where Bruno's head was at, but you nominate Bruno and Zach, and you say that Zach's the pawn. You're just telling Godfrey that we got to get Zach out. Bruno uses the veto on Zach to keep Zach in as a meat shield in front of him, but instead Zach's the pawn against Bruno. I know that Sarah and Bruno had the fight be, but tell me about it. Was that a reason to get rid of Bruno this week? Like, why not Zach? Zach had the relationship with Peely and Ashley. Why not get rid of him and keep Bruno at this point,
So
regardless
again,
of the temperament, the anger with him in the house?
so this had nothing to do with Sarah and Bruno fighting. Like, it sucked, whatever, but it had nothing to do with it. It was more about, I couldn't figure out who was really holding the power. Was it Zach or was it Bruno who was controlling Zach, who eventually was controlling Ashley and Peely? You know what I mean?
Okay.
I couldn't figure out who was this great Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, pulling all the strings. And ultimately, it came down to Bruno. That guy had amazing relationships with everyone in that house. Power that I didn't see Zach having, and I knew that Zach was a big target. I was still keeping a big target. I knew that everyone was going to go after him. He was going to be the next guy to go. So Bruno, the person that people aren't going to think to put up, or Zach, the biggest target in that entire house. I had to take the opportunity to get Bruno out. I knew he no longer had any allegiance to me. And by taking Bruno out, I knew that was going to pull Godfrey in closer to me.
Okay, okay, and that's very very smart. That does help your game. And Zach still remains the biggest target in the house, with your side going to continuously go after him until you get him out, which you
Yeah.
will this next week. Week 9, Sarah's going to win HOH. She's going to put Ashley and Zach, the showmans, on the block together. Ashley wins the power veto. This is going to start her amazing run at vetoes. Um, Peely's the renom. Peely against Zach. And obviously, nobody is going to keep Zach over Peely, so Zach goes. This right here was a pretty good week for you. Obviously, not much to worry about here. Godfrey got to take a break. Also, this is a good week for him as well. And y'all are going to be rolling right on into your third and final HOH of the season. One of the most amazing, again, the triple eviction. You also catch the HOH of the double eviction, and this is big time turning point in your game, because to me, I've got some questions about it. Okay, and this is where I'm so glad I've got you pinned down to answer, because I wanted to hear how you thought about things. You're going to win this HOH. You're going to nominate Ashley and Peely. Ashley's going to win the power of veto again. Okay, and then you're going to nominate Godfrey and Peely. You're going to split the vote. This vote's going to be split, and you're going to be the tiebreaker. I know that you've got a relationship with Godfrey. Peely had basically stopped in 2 competitions at this point. You're going to the final 4, where nothing matters strategically except for competitions. It doesn't really matter how close Ashley and Peely are at this point. Peely's the perfect person to take the final 2, and everybody knows that.
I know.
Godfrey is a tough competitor. He's got potential to win, and he does going to win this final HOH. Like, why at this point in the game is it a better idea to separate the Ashley Peely friendship than to keep Godfrey somebody that at the competition's point in the game is going to be tough to beat?
I just, Godfrey was throwing all these comps, and yes, I knew that he had it in him to eventually win, which that's what I campaigned to Ashley in the end. He's gonna pull it out when he needs to. But by this point, I was close to Ashley, or pardon me, close to Godfrey and Sarah. And ideally, I wanted that final 3, and then we duke it out, and whatever. That was my mentality of it. Peely, I knew she had 175% loyalty to Ashley, and I couldn't fathom keeping Peely around. I hate to say it, but it's just the truth. I wanted a Godfrey and Sarah final.
Okay, fair enough. This is going to push us into once Peely leaves, it's going to push us to week 10, which is going to bring us right to the end of your game. It's going to go pretty fast. It's nothing but comps here. Yeah, you can go get a drink or anything. But no, Sarah's going to win HOH, but this week all the power is in the veto holder's hands, and Ashley is going to win the veto. So really, if you look at keeping Peely last week, had you kept her, Ashley still would have won this power veto. So I don't really think much would have changed. You can't really speculate. It's not fair to even think about that. Don't torture yourself by thinking about it. But right. Say Ashley's still going to win, and you and Godfrey, and this is also where I believe that I don't know if Ashley messes up here, because you would have taken Sarah too. But again, I think that Ashley would have a better chance of beating you in some of these competitions than Godfrey. So again, I don't know where her thought process was other than to separate the pair. But there's only one vote. There's no pitch that's going to help you at this point in the game. Nothing's going to keep you around, correct?
No, exactly. Like, going into this final 4, my mentality was that I had Sarah and Godfrey fighting in my corner. Godfrey didn't want to go with Ashley. I had already planted the seeds in his brain, like, listen, man, she's got the emotional votes in that jury, yada, yada, yada. After that POV happened, I knew that Sarah and Godfrey were fighting in my corner. We, butchered it, unfortunately. And yeah, the only thing I could do to Ashley at this point is try and campaign. I knew that before Zach left, he had already planted the seeds in Ashley's brain to get either myself or Sarah out. Because Sarah couldn't go, I was obviously the next option unless I had won that POV. Didn't happen. tried to point out, Godfrey's got those guys' votes. He's going to pull it out in the end. He's going to win these comps and keep me around, and I just might turn my back on Sarah. Never going to happen, Sarah. But that was
absolutely
that
the
was my
selling
pitch
point.
to her.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that wraps up your game. You played a phenomenal game. You were a powerhouse. You were enjoyable to watch. Seriously, it was.
You're a part of the cool kids club that on the second double eviction you win HOH, then you go into Final Four and lose it. So we're part of an elite squad. It's just me and you. It's just me and her.
Yeah. Well,
we're a cool kids club. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Hey, that's good company for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Hey, I don't ever really like to speculate a whole lot of the what ifs of Final Two stuff. But say the perfect world where you and Sarah had made it to the Final Two together, what would you have said? Let's say that she wins that last HOH and brings you. That way that she's at least you still got more HOH wins than her. No, though, to put y'all tied for HOH wins. So competitively, in competitions, y'all are matched. What do you do to separate yourself? How would you beat Sarah in the Final Two?
Okay, so by this point we would be matched for HOHs. Still say that I was a powerhouse. Still say that I played it low key. Now everybody else had a meat shield. Sarah was my mouth shield. She was supposed to look like she was the mastermind behind it all, but in actuality, a lot of those decisions came from me. Yes, we discussed them. We found common ground, but
did you just say mouth shield? Because mouth shield is that's a new term that will be introduced into the Big Brother game, because I think that is 100% a real thing. And there's the meat shield and there's the mouth shield. I like that so much. Yeah, you just coined a new term. Everyone get on Twitter right now and spread the word. Mouth shield is real. That's real.
So yeah, I could take a lot of credit for a lot of the stuff that happened. I did have strategy going in. I took out big players. Yes, it was risky, but majority of y'all are sitting in that jury because of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
No, I didn't really keep things from Sarah, but I would definitely play up my loyalty card. I played this girl with I played this entire game with this girl, and I stuck loyal. Whether I take home the $100,000 or the $20,000, she's still sitting next to me.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I wish I had some questions so I could just lay it down. Ask me a jerky question.
Brittnee, what? I got nothing. Oh, shit.
Well, hey, I guess, like I said, we're at the end of your game. We know that there's no combination of anybody versus Sarah that you wouldn't have voted for your girl Sarah to win it. I know that you were really singing her praises in the jury house, which is probably not hard. It seems like everybody pretty much came with their minds made up that Sarah deserved the victory.
Yeah, they did.
I know.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Brittnee, do you have any meet and greets coming up that you want to shout out? And do you want to shout out all your social media so people go follow you?
I don't have any meet and greets, but I'm gonna be planning some, so y'all better come out to them. My my Instagram and Twitter is miss_curvy CURVY_V, and get at me.
Excellent.
Heck yeah! All right, right on.
Everyone go follow Brittnee.
I'm Ed Spencer B. Clausen on Twitter. I'm terrible on Instagram, but I'm Spencer BB15 Clausen there if you want to just go waste the follow because I don't give a shit. But anyway, we're going to be back tomorrow with Cindy and also a BB17 cast reveal.
Yeah, what time are we saying? 7 o'clock is the BB cast reveal that we're going to do our show? Is that what time we said?
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to try to do.
So 7
o'clock Central for the cast reveal, and then we'll interview Cindy after that, probably around 9 o'clock Central.
Yep, absolutely.
So, all right. Well, excellent.
Excellent.
Well, thank everybody for tuning in and watching us. If you're listening to us on iTunes, thank you very much. And Brittnee, it was so badass for you to join us. Wonderful interview. I've been looking forward to talking to you and breaking down your game for so long. So we really appreciate you joining us. McCrae, do you have anything else?
I've got nothing. You can just go get ready for Big Brother 17, motherfuckers, because it's about to go down. Everyone go to Hamster Watch. Everyone go to hamsterwatch.com. Get your feeds straight from Hamster Watch. If you're in Canada, she's got a workaround for you guys, so you guys can be watching Big Brother 17. Also, give CBS all your money because they need it. Just let's go, baby. Big Brother 17, shit's about to pop off. That's all I got. That's all. Everyone, all right, guys. Thanks again for watching, and take care. And Brittnee, say goodbye.
Bye, and thank you guys so much. I had such a dope time.
Oh my God, thank you. You're one of the best guys.
Stay around. He'll click off, Brittnee, but we'll still be here, so don't hang up yet. All right.
Cool.
All right. See you guys later, and take care. Subscribe, follow, do all the good stuff, and click the things. All right, see you later.
All the goodies.
Bye bye.